All right, my name is Matt. Right now, there are 1.4 million people at risk of becoming homeless, 50,000 of which will actually be homeless tonight. Most of them have serious substance abuse problems or serious mental issues, and all of them are veterans. So, why do we care? Well, many of us know someone who is either active duty or is a veteran themselves. I personally have several family members as well as several friends who are either active duty or have retired from the military. And so this is something that hits close to home for me. California Veterans Assistance Foundation has tons of programs for homeless vets who are looking to get off the streets and are trying to regain their life. Now, a lot of the problem that underlies is that they have issues that keep them from staying in a stable home. Many of them live below the poverty line, either because of substance abuse problems, in which during the 2013 Kern County Homeless Collaborative homeless count, they asked many of the people who are homeless if they were addicted to substances and what they were. 53% of the people who reported being addicted to a substance were addicted to alcohol. 34% of those were addicted to meth. Now those are the general homeless population, but veterans make up about 10% of the homeless population, as opposed to 7% of the regular US population. And a lot of the programs that exist require sobriety before they enter the program. Now many of them are homeless, and so what they're around is not conducive to sobriety, so many of them can't get into the program simply because they can't stay sober long enough to get in. Now another issue is mental and physical health problems. 50% have a serious mental disorder and 51% have a physical disability. And that's from the California Veterans Assistance Foundation's website. Almost all of them require some form of psychological therapy or physical therapy to help recover their lives. And as we've all seen in the news, the VA wait times have gone upwards of 400 days before they can get an appointment to see someone. And so every day the number of at-risk veterans goes up because we have more and more people coming home from active duty trying to reestablish their lives in the civilian world. So, the California Veterans Assistance Foundation exists to provide a Housing First program to help reduce that wait time. According to Anne Montgomery in her article, Housing Chronically Homeless Veterans from the Journal of Community Psychology, the May 2013, page 511, the traditional route takes about 223 days from the time they're accepted into the program until they actually get into housing. Now with Housing First programs, they found that by having housing ready to go for when they get accepted, they can reduce that time down to 35 days. And that same study showed that not only did that reduce the wait time, but it also meant that they were 8 times more likely to maintain stable housing after they exit the program than they would using traditional route. Now, this is a testimony from the California Veterans Assistance Foundation's website by a guy named Mike G., who served 3 years in the National Guard as a carpenter. He then went on to serve 4 years in the Navy as a corpsman in a hospital. And after his discharge, his life began spiraling. He eventually got divorced, and he ended up living in his truck. Someone that was in his church told him about this foundation. They got him into a house that day, some type of housing. It wasn't a permanent housing, but it was something to get him out of living in his truck. And since then, they've helped him get in contact with job skills. He's got a part-time job. He's working his way towards getting his life back and adjusting to civilian life. And the organization like this, and there are many others across the country, but this one in specific is very much alone in the county, and they compete with several other organizations nationally for VA money in the form of grants, which are highly competitive due to the number of organizations. And so they have a lot of need in terms of volunteer work, especially But the good news is there's a way for us to help. So they have tons of ways. They have events where they require people to go and just represent the organization to veterans who are specifically coming out to these events. I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but it's called the Veteran Stand Down. And what it's for is to bring attention to homeless veterans and to get in contact with those people who otherwise wouldn't know about these organizations because they're living on the street. There's also several donations that they need processed, sort of like Goodwill, where people drop off stuff and they have no one to go through it and sort it out. Also, if you're good at repair work, they have a lot of maintenance and repair work that they need done on a lot of their properties throughout town. And that would help them greatly because they have these buildings that they don't have anyone to maintain them. And they can't house people in them if they don't meet an inspection. And choosing to do nothing is really allowing these people to stay homeless, living this lifestyle that is conducive to violence, drug use, and short life expectancy. So in order to get involved, if you want to get involved, Allison Luker, that's her phone number and her email. Like I said before, the opportunities range from processing donations, representing the organization at events, as well as helping to maintain and repair buildings that they own. So, what do we do with this? I believe that it's a charity that's worth our time, and it's definitely a people group that's worth our effort and investment. They help get veterans off the streets so that they can begin rebuilding their lives and adjusting after having this downward spiral of trying to figure out where they fit in this world that they're sort of being reintroduced to. It's capable of filling this need, but they don't have all the resources they need to fully develop this, this culture of helping out these veterans who are homeless. And by working together with them and several other homeless organizations in town, we can help serve the people who have served us. So these are good people who have fallen on hard times, and we can help them. That's the good news, is that no matter how bad their lives are, we can help them. But it's organizations like these that need our help. So if you find yourself binge watching Breaking Bad for the umpteenth time on a Saturday, maybe consider next time, getting out, finding a way that you can help them on a Saturday, because I'm sure they'll greatly appreciate it.